Branch Assembly Center in Baton Rouge. This is the SEC on ESPN. As the number 22 LSU Tigers, undefeated so far in conference play, take on the Rebels of Ole Miss, coming off a tough overtime loss to Auburn. The Rebels and the Tigers for the second time in a couple of weeks. With Jimmy Dykes, my partner, I'm Paul Sunderland. A couple of things for sure. Probably be a close game because LSU's playing. And surprisingly, in today's college basketball, we'll have each of these teams led by a very, very good senior guard.
Yeah, really good guard play in this game right now. You look at Brian Tyree for Ole Miss, leads the SEC in scoring, Paul. He's a compact, tremendous athlete that can go for really big numbers. Had a career high the last time these two teams played, went for 36. And on the other side, Skylar Mays, playing as good as any guard in college basketball, not only in this league, but maybe in the country, when you consider all the ways that he touches the ball game. LSU is a hot team. All the talk about Kentucky and Auburn and other teams in the league. This is the team, again, that has the lead that could very well win the SEC for the second year in a row.
LSU in their home whites, as mentioned, a perfect record so far, 7-0 in the SEC, 9 wins overall. Most recently over Alabama at home. Before that, another close game on the road in Austin. They're 16-4 overall. Ole Miss at 10-10.
Ole Miss in man-to-man defense to start the game, but Kermit Davis so good at changing up the defense within the game. 2-3 zone, 1-3-1. He'll go zone to man within the possession, trying to keep LSU off balance for the next 2 hours.
Good recognition of the mismatch right away by freshman Trendon Watford out of Birmingham, Alabama. He's really been on a roll, and for that was named the SEC Freshman of the Week, averaged 18 points. 6 rebounds in the last couple of contests, and much better at the free throw line, which has been important for LSU.
Yeah, he's every day Will Wade at the end of practice, at least every practice I've been to this year, they work on that routine right there. The left foot steps back and then it steps up, a little bit wider base than what you would normally teach. But it has worked because it's now a routine for Watford, which 3 or 4 months ago he did a little bit of everything, right?
Well, he had no routine, but he had every routine. Was doing something each and every time. 55% from the line in the non-conference, 83% from the charity stripe so far in SEC play. Step through, maybe got away with a travel, pull-up jump shot, and knocked down immediately by Devontae Shuler, coming off a big game, albeit in the double overtime loss to Auburn.
Yeah, he was aggressive in that game, one that Ole Miss very easily could have won. Got to the free throw line 18 times.
Mismatch again inside, right to the front of the rim for the outstanding freshman.
LSU, one of the few teams in this league that they really take advantage of mismatched defenses on that block. They spread that floor, they isolate, they pass high. So good, Paul, is LSU scoring around the rim. One of the best in the country.
Well, they really do their work in the paint, and that was certainly a story in the first meeting. Another very close game, won in Oxford by LSU 80-76. Nice play on the offensive rebound by Shuler at only 6'2", 190 pounds, out of Irmo, South Carolina, number 2 in light blue.
Well, we talked about his 26 points against Auburn, which is a career high. So he comes in right now with a hot mindset, a scorer's mentality, and again, getting to the free throw line 18 times in that ball game. Kind of says the scouting report that he's playing with right now, he's taking the ball with strength and quickness to the rim.
So far, it has been a disappointing season, in the words of Kermit Davis, but don't be discouraged. And each and every time out, certainly Ole Miss going to give themselves an opportunity. They just need to all be on the same page on the same morning, afternoon, or night, and it's morning here at LSU.
Ole Miss shows 1-3-1, so the ball came out of the corner. Then they match up man-to-man. And LSU, they play against the 1-3-1 every day, and Ole Miss is not afraid to throw it at you to see how you handle it.
Watford already with 5 quick points, and he's done it against 3 different defenders. Bryce Williams, 6'2", 180-pound junior out of Tampa, Florida. At the point, you'll notice that Hadim C. is not in the starting lineup. He was held out because he missed a class, according to head coach Kermit Davis. He knew what the penalty was going to be, and he's paying it. Days on the Euro step and the run through, and the ball deflected out of bounds.
Ole Miss being aggressive, not selling for jump shots in this game early, but it's very hard to keep LSU from scoring around the rim and scoring at the rim against LSU. Those big, quick body, quick athletes, man, just chew you up.
Brian Tyree, speaking of quick, pull up, jump shot from 3-point range, not there. Good offensive rebound, but was it over the top? It was by KJ Buffin, going right over the back of Skylar Mays.
Yeah, great, terrific effort by Skylar Mays. Does so many things. And talking to Will Wade before the ball game, just so high on his senior guard. I know the guy can score, but man, he sets that offense. He rolls that defense up top and sets the point of attack. He's a box off guard. He scrapes down and gets defensive boards. Just a really, really good college guard. Is 4-1.
Nice spin move right to the front of the rim and finishes right on cue. Jimmy Skylar Mays averaging 16 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists from right here in Baton Rouge.
He's as good as I've seen this year as a college guard spinning to score. Now, a lot of guards will spin, but they're spinning to charge. This guy spins to score at a really high rate. Ole Miss being deliberate with their offense, getting the short clocks. I think they're trying to choke the game down today against LSU. Well done.
Really good offense late in the clock and knocked down once again by Schuler, who's off to a good start.
Well, that ball got side to side on the third side of the floor, and a late clock shot with about 5 to go. That's the recipe for success for Ole Miss today.
Javonte Smart high up off the glass. Boy, both teams shooting it pretty well. And Kermit Davis, in his second year, the reigning SEC Coach of the Year, not at all happy on the sideline. Solid start, tied at 9, just underway. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by 5-Hour Energy Shots. Energy on the go. And in part by Lexus. Experience amazing.
But he lives, Paul, in that left seam, which is just inside the left slot. The slot is a little bit more outside of an angle. That left seam is where Brian Tyree really feels at home.
And you can see what he's done so far during his career. He's the leading active scorer among all SEC basketball players and leading the conference in scoring in SEC games. Speaking of the SEC, only win so far for Ole Miss. The Rebels over Georgia. They are 1-6 in conference play after going to the NCAA tournament last year. Nice block down inside by Emmett Williams, number 5 in white.
Yeah, Ole Miss has lost their close games in conference play. They could very easily have 3 or 4 wins, but that's the difference. LSU closing out close games. Other teams in the league right now struggling.
Nice play by Devontae Schuler. Yeah, he's tripped from behind and knocked to the floor. Devontae Schuler is a one-man gang so far for the Rebels. He has scored all 9 of their points. And going back to the first meeting in Oxford a couple of weeks ago, it was Brian Tyree who scored 13 points in the first 7 minutes. And Will Wade telling me yesterday they could never slow him down as he went for 36.
Brian Tyree had 10 points in the warm-up line before the game started. That's how hot he came out. And I'm not so sure that there was a trip on the play.
Darius Days, who's played with some foul trouble, fouled out in the first game. Between these two, only played 16 minutes and also had foul trouble in the recent win on Wednesday over Alabama. Will Wade telling me yesterday that could be a very, very big factor. He's picked up some less than smart fouls, but that one didn't look like it was a violation on his part.
I don't think it was a trip by the defender. Live, I can see where the officials saw it like that, but on the big replay, it didn't lead to any points. But right here, he just, his left foot tripped his right foot. I'm telling you, that's such a hard call, though, for official to make.
Yeah, we've both seen that call made hundreds of times. But if you're Darius Days, you don't like it because you've struggled the last couple of games with foul trouble. Boy, how red hot. Beautiful make by Javonte Smart. And now LSU is a perfect 5 for 5 from the floor.
LSU takes the ball to the rim better than anybody in the SEC.
Tyree, that's going to rim in and out. Heartbreak, and nice rebound taken by Watford. Unselfish kick ahead, but Williams can't finish off the side of the iron. Schuler, boy, is he feeling an attack in the basket, and no foul call on that play. Back and forth we go. Nice pass. Williams, point blank, stays with it.
That's where they chew you up, LSU. 41% on the offensive glass in league play. And that's an awfully high number, and it's relentless and vicious how they attack that offensive glass.
Down the lane, charger block, offensive foul is going to be called on number 0 in blue, Blake Hinson, 6'7", 230-pound sophomore out of Dalton, Florida. Look.
Well, the defender flopped before the contact came. And LSU is fortunate that that call went their way. Ole Miss being very aggressive on the road, though, to start the game, Paul. They're not settling for jump shots. I know they're down 4 points, but I like the offensive game plan that Kermit Davis has. He's running a lot of false motion, going to choke the game down and get a lot of late clock shots off in this game.
Smart change of pace off the window, not there. Nice rebound taken in traffic by Hadim C on the floor now after not starting this basketball game, missing his second start so far on the year. There he is, number 3 in blue.
So he doesn't start because he missed a class. And that's such an easy call for a head coach to make. It's very simple. It's a non-negotiable one-way conversation that's just not acceptable in our program. And those kind of things, if you're Kermit Davis, it just drives you nuts, man. You don't ask a whole lot of your guys other than just take care of business and do what's right. And that missing a class for no reason, automatic sit down.
Javonte Smart picking up his first personal foul. That's 14 fouls right now on LSU. See, off the window, not there. Nice rebound taken by Marlon Taylor, number 14 in white. The outstanding athlete who's playing more and more important minutes. Crossover dribble down the lane, and Trendon Watford will get back to the free throw line. Continues his very, very strong play. 3 top 20 teams highlight our full day of Saturday college hoops on ESPN and the ESPN app. John Calipari and number 13 Kentucky take on Bruce Pearl and number 17 Auburn at 6 p.m. Eastern in a sonic blockbuster. Then at 8 p.m. number 9 Duke squares off against Syracuse at the Carrier Dome. Your thoughts on Kentucky and Auburn?
Well, I tweeted last night that if there is a student section that can raise the bar higher than what Kentucky faced last Saturday in Lubbock, Texas at Texas Tech, it's the jungle at Auburn. I mean, that's an 8 or 10 point difference in that ball game. Auburn on their home floor. They play better on their home floor, faster, more confident. But the jungle was alive today on College Game Day and will have an impact on that game. If you look at Kentucky, their last 3 Saturdays at Arkansas, the building was rocking. In Lubbock last Saturday, the building was hot and on fire. It will go to a whole nother level today. If Kentucky wins those 3 Saturdays, man, that's a powerful statement by John Calipari and his guys.
Tyree weaving his way through traffic, and as you pointed out, he always wants to get back to his right hand.
Tyree does? Yes, absolutely. But, you know, he can score going left, but he is a right-hand dominant guy. And the more times LSU can take that away, the better chance you have.
Shot clock at 5. Schuler feeling it early. Gotta go. Hinson, step back jumper, not there. Blake Hinson has really been struggling from outside the arc in SEC play. 33% on the year, but only 10 of 42 so far in conference play. And Kermit Davis had an interesting way of describing his shooting woes when we talked to him earlier today.
You know, that was a half-tooth shot though by Hinson. He had no choice. But you look at his shooting stroke, and it is much better than 23%. So easy one-on-one conversation. You tell me, Blake Hinson, you're either a bad shooter or you're having bad shot selection. And he's not a bad shooter, so it's all about selection for Blake Hinson from that three-point line.
A rare turnover so far in this basketball game, although LSU does have 3. 12:44 remaining in the opening half. Really good shooting. Devontae Schuler in particular for Ole Miss scored the first 9 points, but nobody else has scored in this game for the team in blue. When
you press Ole Miss, the risk you run is a shooter like Breon Tyree getting loose on the back end. And Ole Miss has got to get 4 in blue going offensively in this game.
Austin Crowley on the floor now wearing number 1. Good attack of the basket off the side of that. Strong rebound taken in traffic by Emmett Williams, and he was hit up about the eye. Big story for LSU is the way they rebound the ball, particularly at the offensive end. What makes this team so good at going after the ball? They are not that big a team.
No, they're not, but they have huge Valentines, and they are It's a bar that has been set by Will Wade, as we got a blood issue with Emmett Williams, but 80% is the mark that they have to be graded out at in terms of going to the offensive glass and getting shoulders in front of defenders. And it's emphasized every day. And that's the mark of a great coach, man. You get what you demand, and Will Wade demands that part of the game every time. As a result, they're one of the best offensive rebounding teams in all of college basketball.
They offensive rebound about 37% of their misses, which is just a remarkable number. Emmett Williams coming off a double-double, 23 points, 11 rebounds in the 90-76 win right here over Alabama on Wednesday.
That number is, I said it earlier, it's 41% in SEC play. So they're doing it against same size and the same athletic ability in this league right now. I mean, you're 7 games in, you're grabbing 41 misses out of every 100 that you shoot. That's hard to handle.
Williams will go to the free throw line. They've taken care of him medically and looked over at the monitor. And Ole Miss in some foul trouble already with 17 fouls, 12-19, a lifetime remaining in this particular half. And LSU is the best free throw shooting team in the conference, and they get to the line 24 times per game.
Ole Miss does not have a guy on the floor that has scored a point so far in this game.
And the run continues for Williams. Coming back on will be Trendon Watford. Williams will go to the sideline. And the run now is 10-0 for LSU.
This needs to be Breein Tyree's time right now. The 2-2-1 press by LSU, doing a good job of staying close to Breein Tyree, not letting him get freed up on the back end.
Steps away from the double team, but into the side of the board, and the rebound taken easily by Andre Hyatt.
That was a force by C, because he had Breein Tyree just sitting in the right seam waiting for a kick out. That's a walk.
Fourth turnover for LSU. It'll be Ole Miss basketball when we come back to the Bayou.
Pieces are there. And Trendon Watford is so skilled, Paul, at 6'8" as a freshman with the ball. He can pass it like a guard. He's good operating between the pipes with either hand. He can finish with either hand around the rim. As Emmett Williams continues to struggle with a blood issue on his right paw. But this is an LSU team now. They are tough-minded dudes. They find a way to win close games, but they will hold up in this league again, Paul, because of how they play. They're getting the ball in the paint, and they're killing people on the glass. They're getting to the free throw line, and they defend without fouling.
Breein Tyree, anybody in a blue uniform for the Ole Miss Rebels looking for a basket, it has all been Devontae Shuler so far.
They're doing a good job. LSU is switching out on Breein Tyree.
Reed himself, pull-up jump shot off the side of the iron, and the rebound taken by Marshall Graves, 6'4" senior.
Tyree has not gotten to that left seam nearly as much in this game as he normally does. Those deep threes. Graves is a kid that you don't talk a lot about, but he could absolutely coach this team. He's one of those guys that just knows everything, every play call, every situation. And LSU starts knocking down threes. It's almost lights out when they're on their home floor.
Skylar Mays asked quickly to get out of this basketball game, and Will Wade accommodated his star point guard, the senior pre-med student, is down along the sideline, and he keep a very close eye on that. He's being attended to, left with what looked like, based on how the trainer came over to look at him, a right foot injury. We'll keep you posted on that one. 11-12 remaining in the opening half.
What's on the right-hand side, number 4 in white? And he steps. Oh yeah, that's not how the ankle's intended to roll.
Being attended to very, very carefully along the sideline, but you could see that ankle roll over. Where does Ole Miss, Jimmy, go for some offense? That's a pretty good place down inside. Nice little slip screen, and C with the basket.
Yeah, really good hard roll with a purpose by Hadim C. Interesting how many guys play in low tops, and you know who made that popular, don't you? Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant was a low top guy, man. He kind of spun that thing forward for everybody.
Boy, Trendon Watford, 22-6 at Texas last Saturday. 17-15, his 4th double-double of the year against Alabama on Wednesday. Top 2 or 3 freshmen in the conference?
Trendon Watford?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Kentucky's got a couple. The Poro kid at Auburn is outstanding as well.
Edwards at Georgia.
Just no offensive real purpose right now by Ole Miss. They're moving the ball side to side, but boy, I keep saying it, but you got the leading scorer in the SEC, Breon Tyree, with nothing in this game so far. The thing about LSU, Paul, they got good length now, and Breon Tyree at best is 5'11 and a half, and that length could be bothering him early in this game.
The lead is 22-11. Hyatt out of the corner, not there. Rebound easily taken by Ole Miss's C. Open in the corner. Williams pull up jump shot. Hard luck. Boy, Ole Miss has had a couple of shots rattle in and out that were really deep.
That's your best shooter in conference play from 3 at 57%, Bryce Williams.
On the dribble drive, knocked to the floor, and once again, LSU playing downhill and getting to the free throw line.
They put so much pressure on you immediately in that shot clock, LSU. They got guards that really just play low in gaps, talking about Smart and Mays. Those dudes, they're thinking paint first, paint second, paint third. And if not, it's a ball reversal, pounding it inside to the bigs.
Good news for LSU fans. It looks like Skylar Mays will be coming back on as Javonte Smart, an 84% free throw shooter, knocks down the first. Boy, youth is a wonderful thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kids heal pretty darn fast because he rolled that ankle over.
Youth and tape. It's a good combination.
Yep. And good care. Both free throws are perfect. 18 fouls now on Ole Miss. They got over the limit at the 12-19 mark, and now the lead is 13. Breon Tyree averaging almost 23 points per game in conference play. Still scoreless.
Yeah, he got in that left seam, and Javonte Smart just sat down and went to work defensively.
Step back jump shot by Hinson comes up well short, and Skylar Mays, who averages 5 rebounds a game, comes up with it flat-footed as Williams is back on.
Well, LSU is hot right now as a defensive team. They are alert. They're switching high and hot on Breon Tyree at all spots. About as good of a 11 or 12-minute defensive stretch that LSU's had all year right now.
Ole Miss is 4 of 17 from the floor, and remember, Devontae Shuler got them off to a very, very quick start. Look at that, Shuler, and then the rest of the team. Foul out on the perimeter against Mays. That'll be the 4th team foul so far against LSU. You made an interesting point about Mays and LSU. They play such good defense without fouling. How do they do that?
It's what you emphasize as a coach again, Paul. I mean, that's every practice I go to, they're moving their feet, showing their hands, and they're relentless with it. And they're not a juggernaut defensively overall, but when you factor in the fact that you get very few points from the free throw line on them and how hard they pound you on the glass, that's why they've rushed out to that 7-0 start in conference play.
4th turnover for Ole Miss. Javonte Smart, nice play. Count the basket. What a strong move to the basket once again. Emmett Williams appears to be just fine after he too, like Skylar Mays, being tended to.
LSU is they are so dominant, just playing between the free throw lane extended, between the pipes. And Skylar Mays is terrific going down the left side. Days and Emmett Williams are good going down either side. But when they isolate their guys at the elbow, talking about the 4 and 5 man, and even Watford, Williams, Watford, and Days, so difficult, man, so difficult to keep those guys away from the rim.
Ole Miss really with some foul trouble. KJ Buffin just picked up his 3rd, and Hadim C, who didn't start the game, played limited minutes. He has 2 fouls as well. Carlos Curry, 6'10", redshirt freshman, wearing number 10 on the floor now as Kermit Davis has had to go deep to his bench. Nice play high up off the window after Darius Days hustled the floor for LSU.
The home run pass by LSU. 3 or 4 times a game, Darius Days out in front of the play. Well done, Zero. Richards now on the road tonight. Kentucky has to play through that guy. Austin Wiley is a big-bodied guy from Auburn that can bang and be physical with it, but that's a Kentucky team that is the real deal. And it all is starting because of Nick Richards, big 7-footer, and hard to guard, man.
Richards, interestingly, has been better away from Rupp Arena, averaging 19 and 9, as opposed to significantly fewer numbers at home. All LSU so far. The lead continues to grow, and the run is 21-2. Blake Hinson picks up his 3rd personal foul. So nothing going Ole Miss's way, but if you followed LSU, you know that they have been pretty good at getting leads and also very generous at giving them back. And there is a lifetime left in this basketball game. They led Texas by 16 with 14 minutes to play, ended up winning by 2.
Well, the hope for Ole Miss right now is you've got nothing from Brian Tyree. And he's an electric scorer sitting on the bench right now that can have a 20-point half. The problem is, if you're Ole Miss, this game's getting away from you right now. This thing's on the verge of being a 20-point game in the first 20 minutes. And Kermit Davis has to do something to at least keep his team within striking distance until Brian Tyree gets going. And matchup later on today, Texas Tech and Kansas. That's a Kansas team that's as talented as anybody out there. Azubuike is just such a load to handle on the inside, and trying to figure out who the shooter was, who shoved who. You got 3 different guys to choose from.
That looked like a mosh pit at a really popular contest or concert. The officials go to the monitor, and they will designate the foul shooter. Once again, Ole Miss has been out of fouls over the limit. Now it's double bonus with 10 team fouls. They have been in the bonus since the 12-19 mark. So will be Marlon Taylor, 6'6" senior out of Mount Vernon, New York. 2nd year at LSU. Made 24 starts last year. Missed the first 9 games of the year with an injury, but he is really coming on and playing important minutes for Darius Days in particular, who's been recently in foul trouble. Did you see this coming, Jimmy? 28-11.
I thought it had the potential to do it, and Ole Miss has played well the last 2 ball games. But I didn't think LSU was going to allow Brian Tyree to do what he did in the first matchup. And I think Will Wade has done a terrific job of getting his guys' attention the last 2 days in practice and just showing the last game, saying, here's what Brian Tyree did to us. You can let him come in our building today and do it again. Answer the question for me. And LSU's defense has been terrific. The full court press has slowed the game down. It's kept Ole Miss from out of any type of an offensive rhythm. And to defend without fouling, you're holding Ole Miss to 11 points, and you've only fouled 4 times doing it. That's as good as you can do, Paul.
Brian Tyree currently on the sideline for Ole Miss. 0 for 4 so far. Again, had a career high 36. Williams down the lane against the shot clock pull-up jump shot by Crowley. And again, rattles in and out. Boy, that basket for Ole Miss has got a lid on it. Pass to Williams, and he's knocked to the floor, and the foul trouble continues. If I'm not mistaken, that's 3 personals now on C. And Texas, excuse me, speaking of Texas, getting to the free throw line, not a lot at all. Ole Miss is not, and LSU is getting to the line now with great regularity.
And that early transition ball screen by LSU is hard to handle, and then Will Wade, he'll put Darius Days in that spot. He'll put Emmett Williams in that spot. He'll put Watford in that spot. And it puts a lot of pressure on your 4 or 5 man, depends on what the lineup is, to quickly run that floor and recover to those ball screens.
Quick reminder tonight at 3:30 a.m. Eastern, 12:30 Pacific on ESPN and the ESPN app, we'll have the Australian Open Men's Championship match between number 5 seeded Dominic Thiem and number 2 seed Novak Djokovic. Thiem is looking for his first major title, while the defending champion has won the event a record 7 times and is looking for his 17th Grand Slam. But Thiem has had good success, Jimmy, against Djokovic. He's won 4 out of the last 5. And quick congratulations to the women's champion down in Australia from the United States, Sophia Kenin, her first major championship.
Good job by Schuler, beating the press off the bounce. You're not scoring at all. LSU is doing everything they want defensively in this game.
The lead is 19. Schuler, skip pass into the corner, ball fake and attack, and that still won't go. A nice rebound taken by number 14, Taylor.
Yeah, it's hard to get one-handed finishes at the rim against LSU. You got to go with two hands and go with the mentality. They're going to have to foul me if nothing else. You foul two-handed finishes, you don't foul one-handed finishes.
Mays right down Main Street in between the pipes.
Well, he started out of the slot a little bit, but Mays is a kid that he's a lot more explosive than what he first looks at on film. He's a big, strong, physical guard that talked with Kermit for the ball game. I agree. He's going to make an NBA roster and be in the NBA for a long time because there's just no weakness in his game.
The run is 25-2. Ole Miss turns it over for the 5th time. A disastrous first 15 minutes and change for Ole Miss, coming in at 10-10, 1-6 in conference. And that's going to be a traveling violation called against Watford and LSU.
Here comes the hope offensively, Breon Tyree. That's what I'm talking about. You go in with one hand against LSU, it ain't going to work. You have to go in knowing that those big bodies are going to rotate at you with two hands. And Skylar Mays, that's a two-hand finish. He released it at the end with one, but that's the difference in those two drives. You got one guy going in with one hand, and Skylar Mays going with a power position with two. Here we go, finally. You score at the back end of the press for the first time in this game.
Sammy Hunter, 6'9", freshman from Nassau, Bahamas, the recipient of that on-target lob pass. But way, way overdue. Ole Miss went close to 7 minutes without scoring. The run got to 25-2, and the advantage now is 19, just under 5.5 minutes remaining. Hyatt, change of pace, off the window, not there. Nice rebound taken in traffic by Antavian Collum. Schuler thought about it. Wow, rimmed out again. Rebound taken and then lost out of bounds by LSU.
That is not how Ole Miss is going to get back in this game. I read Kermit's lips as soon as that shot was taken. That's not what we want. And you come down and get a Jackers mentality, you'll get run out of this building by 35, 40 points, and Kermit knows it. They have a kid sitting out, Ole Miss, Jarkel Joyner. I was there in the fall, watched 2 days of practice, and had just a fabulous time. I love Oxford, Mississippi, just the kindest people in the world. But he is the real deal as a scorer, transferred back in, a local kid that is going to be an 18, 20-point scorer most likely next year from game one.
Off the turnover, nice play and better defense. Breon Tyree able to save what would have been an obvious basket for LSU. Nice play defensively by number 4 in blue.
Good job by Breon Tyree to sprint instead of trying to backpedal. And then he's a tremendous athlete is Breon Tyree. Just the quick hands, the recognition. LSU's so good on baseline out of bounds under, driving the ball off the catch.
Williams down inside, gets Tyree on the mismatch, and will immediately get to the free throw line. Number 4, Breon Tyree, leading active scorer in the SEC, averaging 22 points per game so far in conference play. Has yet to score, and again, if you're just joining us, went for a career high 36 a couple of weeks ago against the same LSU team. Good news for Ole Miss and Tyree. Jimmy, that's just his first personal foul. And he's got a lot of teammates who have all kinds of foul trouble. Look at David Tyree with the unforgettable helmet catch. Is the cousin of Breon Tyree.
Has there been a catch better than that one? If you just think back on NFL big time games and what it meant. I can't
no,
think of
not that I can remember.
Remarkable what he did with that catch. And that is not the look that you want right now if you're Ole Miss. That's a frustrated Breon Tyree, and I think the frustration is a two-way street right now between Kermit Davis and Breon Tyree.
Nice pass along the baseline, and Crowley doing a nice job finding Hunter, the freshman, for his second dunk. Taylor got in the air with nowhere to go. Ball deflected out of bounds off Ole Miss. Rebels bench still very much in the game. Can't believe it.
There's a lot that goes into trying to keep LSU off the offensive glass. And you have to break it down. How are we going to do it? I think one key factor is not to overhelp on LSU drives, because if you overhelp and now you got 2 guys on the ball, that's just an automatic offensive rebound opportunity waiting to happen for LSU.
Right on cue, offensive rebound taken by Bryant. Rebound once again by Schuler, who's been the only weapon so far for the visitors from Ole Miss. Inside of 4 minutes remaining in the opening half, then all LSU got on top 17-9, 28-11, and eventually went on a 25-2 run to take this commanding lead. That pretty much exemplifies the opening half so far with the air ball and a wide open 3.
Well, when you're an 18% three-point shooter, you might want to make a play out of the corner as opposed to settling for a 3 out of the corner. And that's exactly what Antavian Cullum is.
And sometimes if you shoot that kind of number, you are open for a reason. Good step inside. Really good. What good footwork by Hyatt for the basket.
Kept his feet down and didn't travel. Hyatt's a really good player, a key guy for them. You can put him inside the zone and make a play. You can knock down a 3. Moves the ball well. The ball never sticks when 15 in white is on the floor.
Oh, maybe got away. Late whistle, but the right whistle. Hunter with the turnover.
Watch Andre Hyatt, man. His footwork is just really good. Stick that pivot foot. Keep your eyes on the rim. Well done, 15. Well done.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is
here at halftime when they're celebrating Pete Maravich setting the scoring record back in the day. And what a thoughtful, emotional night last night in the NBA. I thought the Lakers did an outstanding job with all the pregame ceremony and Usher singing and the Amazing Grace song and all the things that went into that. I know the Lakers lost the game, but it's a huge step forward and a healing moment for literally thousands and thousands and thousands of people in that area and across the country.
Executed brilliantly by the Los Angeles Lakers. It is just tragic that there was a need for it. I'm still just reeling, having covered Kobe for 10 years. I just probably did 900 of his games, Jimmy, and just reeling at the loss of Kobe at the age of 41, and of course Gigi, his beautiful and magnificent daughter. Just a tragedy of epic scale.
They were the Lakers organization was so good at mentioning the names of the other folks on the helicopter. You can't even still wrap your thoughts or your mind around the loss, just the tragic loss. And 41 years of age, right? Was Kobe when he passed away, as was Pete Maravich. Think about that a little bit. Way too young in life.
I was watching Outside the Lines this morning, and as they always do, did an absolutely brilliant piece on the outstanding baseball coach at Orange Coast Community College. Just a brilliant piece. You should check it out on the ESPN app. 2:15 remaining in the opening half. It has been all LSU again on top. Some of the former LSU greats getting ready to be honored here at halftime once again. 50 years ago yesterday, Pete Maravich became the NCAA's all-time leading scorer with 3,665 points, eclipsing the great Oscar Robertson.
Yeah, a scoring record that it'd be shocking if it's ever broken at the college level, because guys that good, they're only staying for 1 year.
Well, if the rules were the same, Pete would have been gone after his freshman year, and he couldn't even play varsity his freshman year. Attack of the basket here won't go, but it'll be free throws coming to Ole Miss and number 13, Bryce Williams.
Pete Maravich probably changed the game of basketball as much as any former player that the game has ever known. Because up until that point, it was just point A to point B, and the black and white in terms of how we play and how we move the ball with fundamental passing and all that. And Pete just said, wait a minute, there's another way to play the game. And all of us that grew up idolizing Pete Maravich and wanted to be a basketball player. Got the VHS tapes and did all the Pete Maravich ball handling drills. I did those things all my life growing up. And he was special talent doesn't do that guy justice at all. He was remarkable, unique, rare in every area.
That year he set the scoring record, averaged 44.2 points per game. Saw him play at Pauley Pavilion against one of John Wooden's great teams, and another attack of the basket.
Man, what a power drive by LSU. They can do it at all 5 spots. The 3, the 4, and the 5 can face up and drive you. Look at Smart, man, just set you up with a back step, and then the seal off by Watford on the inside, just kind of creating the layup lane. This is an LSU squad. They know who they are. You never put a game tape on, especially in the last month, that they're not playing to their character and to how they're supposed to win games. And there's so much strength in that, and there's so much confidence in a head coach to wake up every day saying, at least I know that we know how we're supposed to play. And a lot of teams still trying to figure that one out.
A lot of credit to third-year head coach Will Wade. SEC regular season tied for the championship last year with Tennessee, a record of 16-2, went to the Sweet 16 before losing to Michigan State, 28-7 overall in the year.
It is 38-16. Brian Tyree has, I believe, 1 foul, if I'm not mistaken, and Kermit Davis shows no sign of putting Brian Tyree back in this game this half.
Minute and a half remaining. To say it's been all old LSU would be a major understatement. Lots of time left, and LSU again has given up a lot of big leads throughout the course of the season so far. Taylor with a rebound.
I'm telling you, this kid Watford, just the catch right there was something unique and special. I mean, he is so skilled with his hands.
Reigning SEC Freshman of the Week, averaging 18 and 6 in the wins over Alabama and at Texas. And so efficient. Last 3 games, 22 of 29 coming in, and got LSU off to a really good start, although that one off the front of the iron. That's his first miss so far on the afternoon. Now 3 of 4. Schuler, pull up jump shot, not there. Coming up on the E-Trade halftime report, Kevin Connors, John Crispin, and King McClure will look ahead to Kentucky and Auburn in a big day in the Big East. That's all coming up on the E-Trade halftime report. And it's a parade to the free throw line right now. Watford going there. This will be free throw number 20 and 21 for LSU. And we still have another half to play.
And that's what they do to people. That's what they've done to people so far in this league. And that's how they went undefeated last year on the road as well. Their game transfers to neutral floor and road games. And they get it rolling at home, and Brian Tyree was taken out of the game defensively by LSU, and then there was some frustration, and Kermit Davis said, I've seen enough. And I'm sure the guys at halftime talking about Auburn and Kentucky, you got to talk about Ashton Hagans, and he closed out the game last week in Lubbock defensively, as good as I've ever seen a guard do in a hot building in a close game. That kid now he's something special on the defensive end. We've known it for a long time, but he's so much more now than just a light the ball up on ball defender. Ashton Hagans, he's making plays every situation. If Kentucky's going to win that game this evening, he's going to have one of those special defensive performances again.
Kentucky playing great. Has Auburn been a big surprise to you going to the Final Four last year? And they lost some really good players. Well,
yes and no. The ones they lost were obviously terrific, but Bruce Pearl returned 4 or 5 guys that played major minutes off that Final Four team. There's a lot of experience in that starting lineup, and then he's just been developing his bench. And then we're at February 1, so there's nowhere to hide now in college basketball. Look around the country right now. Memphis, I'm talking to you. You asked for the smoke early in the year. Well, there's nowhere to hide. You're fighting your tail off getting the NCAA tournament. Ohio State, NC State, Mississippi State, Alabama. Syracuse with a big opportunity tonight against Duke. Michigan, what's happened to them? They were outstanding in the Bahamas, and there's nowhere to hide now, man. You got so many games left on February 1. It's time to get W's.
Shot clock and game clock separated by about 2.5 seconds. Smart. It's going to be a traveling violation.
Last year, back. He could have gotten away with it. This year, you can't get away with that step back travel that the NBA gets away with all the time. And
if they took that away from James Harden, he would have to reinvent himself.
He would have to change his game, Paul. Absolutely right. Boy, just what a discouraging first half for Ole Miss. You come in playing good basketball the last 2 games, and just nothing seems to be working for the team that has beautiful uniforms, by the way. There you go. Bank one in. That may change the whole complexion of the second half for us.
Pull-up jump shot goes down by Crawley, but Ole Miss is going to need a heck of a lot more than that. 40-20 is the advantage, and Trendon Watford having a huge first half. Once again, 40-20. Stay tuned for the E-Trade halftime report right after these messages. Spectacular half so far. The 22nd ranked LSU Tigers doubling up on Ole Miss 40-20. Back with Jimmy Dykes. The best laid plans sometimes go awry because your opponent gets a vote. Breein Tyree, 36 a career high, and you had it all laid out for him.
We broke down his game in terms of what he's been doing all in the season. Right. Put a big old X to it because none of that took place in the first half for Ole Miss. Breein Tyree's got to get going. He didn't do any of this stuff. He wasn't a high usage guard. He didn't get to the seam. He didn't get to his right hand. And LSU's defense had a lot to do with it, but just the body language and the fight and the purpose from Breein Tyree needs to go to another level right now. They may not come back and win this game even if he does. But just going forward in terms of the mojo and the energy and the chemistry and how you feel about yourself, I think this is a big half for Ole Miss and Breein Tyree and LSU. Talked about it early, Paul. They know who they are. That's backed up by they only took 4 threes in the first half. They took 16 twos and 21 free throws. That's who LSU is, and they don't vary from who they are.
Step back jump shot to open things up. Number 5, KJ Buffin, who comes out for the second half. Like a lot of his Ole Miss teammates already in foul trouble. He's got 3. Ole Miss at 10-10, 1-6 in conference. LSU 16-4, and a perfect 7-0 so far in SEC play. Williams misses that off the back of the iron. Yeah, to your point about the number of twos that LSU took there, one of the most efficient 2-point shooting teams in all of college basketball.
Yeah, right there behind the Dayton Flyers. Dayton is a real team. I'm looking at National Players of the Year right now. Certainly Obi Toppin from Dayton would be in that top 4 or 5. He's just a tremendous mismatch for the Dayton Flyers.
Williams goes down hard. The ball comes loose, and here comes Schuler. Schuler doesn't have numbers, so we'll think about it momentarily. Nice trail, but not even close to a good finish that time. Down inside by Buffin, and a foul is going to be called.
Not a strong attack of the basket.
Exactly
by
right.
KJ Buffin. Just went in with almost a lack of purpose. And still Breein Tyree, I don't believe he's even touched the ball so far to start this half. He's a tremendous player. I'm not killing the kid. He's a tremendous player. He leads the league in scoring. Tremendous athlete, compact, gets to the foul line a lot, can get his shot off anytime he wants. Things have not gone his way so far in this game. LSU's defense had a lot to do with it. But at some point, he has to figure it out and be a factor in this game for Ole Miss.
Hadim C. thought he was going to shoot some free throws, as did the rest of the Ole Miss Rebels, but instead it will be ball out of bounds. LSU went on a virtually unanswered 25-point run in the opening half. Skylar Mays turned his ankle, number 4 in white, but looks just fine. Schuler, pull-up jump shot right through the bottom.
Really good defense again by LSU to switch out hot and early on Breein Tyree, sending the message, you're not going to beat us today. If Schuler makes shots, if Henson makes shots, Buffin, so be it. We're not going to let number 4 in blue get this thing rolling.
Schuler now with 14 leading the way, and one of the things Ole Miss head coach Kermit Davis told us was when are Devontae Schuler and Breein Tyree going to play really well on the same night. They haven't done it often this year.
They have not.
Days looking at a high arching 3-pointer off the back of the iron, so a close start for LSU. Maybe this will get Breein Tyree started. He'll get to the free throw line, and you know how scorers are. They just need to see the ball go through the basket. Doesn't matter how or when. And maybe that can open the floodgates.
You know, I said it in just a little bit. The shot made right before the half. And maybe this can kind of turn it around a little bit. I think it was an important basket, first of all. But you look up in this game, as bad as Ole Miss has been, they're 2 free throws away from making this thing a 13-point game. And LSU has struggled this year, keeping the gas pedal down, keeping the focus, staying engaged, and really putting teams away. And you're kind of getting, I'm kind of getting the feel right now that that's exactly where we might be headed once again.
6-0, make it a 7-0 run to open the second half, just what Ole Miss needed. And Skylar Mays is now on the Tigers sideline with 3 personal fouls. Yeah, I've got a list right here of all the leads that LSU has let slip away. Right to the front of the rim, missed by Smart, tip not there, and the rebound taken once again by Buffin.
And to me, LSU is a different team without Skylar Mays on the floor. He sets everything for them on both ends. What a drive.
Tyree, first basket so far of the afternoon.
I love the fact that Kermit Davis set that dude down the first half and said, I'm not even thinking about putting you back in right now. It wasn't about the score of the game. It was about a message being sent from Kermit Davis to Breein Tyree. And so far in the second half, it looks like Breein Tyree received the message and is going to play right through it. And I like it.
Williams, tough shot, needs a bounce, not there. Battle for the offensive rebound, as LSU always does, and it'll be Ole Miss basketball.
This is Breein Tyree when he can get to his right hand. And I talked about it in the first half. He lives out of the seam and out of that slot on the left side, which sets him up for those strong right-handed drives. That's when Ole Miss is at their best. It has been a rough offensive numbers for Ole Miss in SEC play. They're at the bottom in about most offensive categories.
Schuler splitting the defenders, and this time Ole Miss turns the table. Second chance points, and look at this. We played 3 minutes and 15 seconds, and Ole Miss has cut the lead from 20 down to 8. Will Wade talked about this during his midweek press conference when you had the Tigers against Alabama on Wednesday.
Yeah, Ole Miss is on a 14-0 run when you go back to the last 2 points of the first half. Hottie toddy, not going away. Just the whole mojo, the whole feel, the energy, everything has changed about Ole Miss, and Will Wade can feel it, and he knows in the back of his mind those leads that he's had this season can evaporate quickly.
I did that game at Texas when I talked to Coach Wade yesterday at practice. He said it was one missed block out that gave Texas an opportunity for an offensive rebound, a 3-point make. And then the Longhorns were right back in it for the rest of the game. Nice play down inside. That's the first make of the second half for LSU. They're now 1 for 6 in the second half after shooting 60% in the first 20 minutes. Tyree faces up off the back of the iron, and it's all white jerseys on the defensive boards.
The ones he usually makes off those pinned down curls into jump shots on that left side of the lane.
Tyree now 1 of 5 from the floor. Little Euro step there, and that foul is going to be called on Devontae Schuler. It'll be free throws coming to Smart. Ole Miss right back in it here in Baton Rouge, now trailing only by 10, mind you. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Jeep. There's only one. And Taco. It's exactly Monday at 7 Eastern time on ESPN2. Number 4 UConn against number 3 Oregon. UConn Huskies renewed their rivalry against Tennessee recently, and maybe even with the graduation of the great Sabrina Ionescu for the University of Oregon, that is a budding rivalry as Oregon has become an elite program on the women's side. 2 of the favorites to get to the Final Four. A couple of free throws good for Smart. Another area where LSU has dominated. They have been to the line now 23 times, making 17. Back with Jimmy Dykes, I'm Paul Sunderland. Thanks for joining us. Watching our Saturday showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy, and Ole Miss, a tremendous start to the second half. That must have been one heck of a halftime speech by Coach Davis.
A good basket by Breein Tyree to fight to get to his spot. LSU did a terrific job of fighting over the top of the screen, but he didn't give up on the play and got downhill off of it and played off of 2 feet. Tyree. Those are the kind of plays, Paul, that we're used to seeing Breein Tyree make. He's going to get those pin downs on the left side. Now this is his honey spot. He gets to that left seam and he can go to work. I think he's better going to his left than a lot of people give him credit for. A scoring play and a scoring finish by Breon Tyree.
Tyree 0 for 4. Very cold shooting first half for the entire Ole Miss Rebels team. He's now 2 of 7, has 6 points. The offense has come from Schuler and not much of anybody else.
You know, talking to Will Wade in the locker room before the ball game, he and I were talking again about what you don't get fixed in the regular season will ultimately end your season. So if you're a bad defensive rebounding team all year long, that's probably what's going to get your tail beat in a postseason play. And for LSU, the one thing that they have got to get on top of is when they have a chance to put a team away, they have to consistently put them away.
Days right to the front of the rim, thought he got fouled. You could hear him calling out for that. And a chance here, Tyree giving it up. On the run out, missing the slam dunk. Blake Hinson goes hard to the floor. Boy, that was a good attack of the basket, and he'll get rewarded with a couple of free throws.
I'm a big fan of finishing plays with 2 hands instead of 1. Again, another one-handed finish. You know the contact's going to come against LSU. Those plays will not work, Paul. That has to be a strong 2-hand finish. Punch it home and get yourself to the free throw line. I've seen 3 times in this game a drive by Ole Miss trying to be finished off with a 1 hand. Ain't going to work. It's just not going to work.
Hinson's struggles continue as Skylar Mays comes back on. He had to leave early here in the second half with 3 personal fouls. Hinson 0 for 5 so far, drawing blanks from 3-point range and from the free throw line. He averages 11 points a game.
That should have been 3 points for Ole Miss. At one point, you were down 20 in this game. That has to be a 3-point play, at very minimum, a 2-point play, and they came up with 0.
Ball's on the floor. Nice effort once again by Darius Days to get on the floor and on the possession arrow. A timeout was called. Not only a great effort, but also really smart play by Days. We'll be back with more. LSU leading by 10 at home.
Doug.
Give me your hand! I can save you! Lots of money with Liberty Mutual. We customize your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Back in Baton Rouge, LSU 7-0 so far in the SEC season, 16-4 overall. Ole Miss struggling on the road, trailed by 20 at the half, 12-0 run to get right back in this. But Jimmy, during the timeout, you made a really interesting point. I was complimenting Days for getting down on the floor and calling a timeout. But Will Wade and LSU only have 1 timeout remaining for the rest of this game.
Yeah, that's not the play that you want to make if you're LSU. You have to have an understanding of how many timeouts we have left, but more importantly, whose possession arrow is it? It was LSU's possession arrow on the jump ball, so they wasted a timeout, and now they play with 1 for 14:35 to go. If this game continues to get close and stay close, think back on that play and the value of LSU maybe having 1 more timeout in those last couple of minutes. Boy, you look at the hard crash, man, they just come at you. LSU does, and those guards, Smart and Skylar Mays, so good at starting to defense and coming right back and jumping a pass on you.
KJ Buffin will have to go back to the sideline for Ole Miss, picking up his 4th personal foul. LSU got in the bonus very early in the opening half, 14:35 remaining, and Ole Miss already has 14 fouls.
LSU loves to just pop a guy to the elbow and get action, get him going downhill on a little banana drive. Sometimes Darius Days is in that spot right now. You got Trendon Watford in the far side corner up top. This could be a lob threat coming to the rim.
Ole Miss goes zone on the out of bounds. Shot clock at 6. Kick into the corner to Taylor. Pull up jump shot. That felt like a big make for LSU, given what's happened in the first 5 minutes and change so far in the second half.
Ole Miss goes man-to-man on that high post touch. And a terrific job of keeping that ball hot and keeping it moving. It's a bump by Skylar Mays.
That's his 4th personal foul if it's on Mays.
Right here, you're going to see that ball. It goes to the high post. Bam, Ole Miss is now man-to-man. They match up. Breon Tyree just gets a little too far unattached from Marlon Taylor. And you're right about Taylor. It felt like a big, it felt like more than worth 2 points to LSU. 3 points, I guess.
Yeah, they did credit him with a 3 there. Nice little drop pass inside. Good footwork by C. And the finish at the rim.
Good job by Breon Tyree to drive the dive. The big set the ball screen and dove out of it. Breon Tyree drive the dive. Very well done.
Turnover called against LSU. Running out of real estate is Darius Days along the end line. 13:41 remaining in this one, and it's an 11-point lead. It was 20.
That's the right call. Just the try factor of Ole Miss is at a whole nother level than it was the first 20 minutes. It's amazing what happens in ball and in life. You just get up and try every day. And just the energy, the purpose of the cuts right now are much harder, much faster.
Schuler looking to get all the way to the rim. Tough finish. Wow, spinning that high up off the window.
His last game and a half has been tremendous. The best that Devontae Schuler has played this year.
Schuler now with 19, as you mentioned, coming off a 26-point effort. Williams going to try it on the run out. Steps through. Nice hustle by Watford to get back for LSU. Remember that play. That was a big exchange, maybe a 4-point switch.
Yeah, I'm not sure Bryce Williams should have just kept that drill alive. He's in a lot of crowd, a lot of contact, a lot of length around him.
And that's going to be a push along the baseline. C also in foul trouble, and that's 5 team fouls now on Ole Miss and 4 on C.
Watch Schuler drive this ball. Good job of just bouncing off of defenders to keep that ball alive, and then the ball kind of pops loose at the end, right there. Look at that thing. Just gets it up through contact, and that's how you get back in the game. They are not settling. Ole Miss is not settling for jump shots so far in this second half. They are being aggressive, and then you give one up on the baseline out of bounds under. Javonte Smart is such a strong, tough, I think he's a high IQ guard that can just make plays. It's an old school move off the back of the defender. There's no play call about that at all. That's just the out of bounds under guy seen an opportunity. And a good job by Javonte Smart to make sure both feet got inbounds before he touches that basketball.
Somehow I think that's going to make SportsCenter. That was really, really clever. And as you point out, you got to get back into the court legally, and he did that very, very smartly done by Javonte. Lead is back up to 12. Tyree working against Taylor and gets a piece of it. Marlon Taylor is the best athlete on LSU, number 14 in white, and he showed you right there.
Well, he's one of them. Emmett Williams and Darius Days are right there with him, but in terms of a long defender on a guard, you cannot defend Breon Tyree any better than they just did. And Marlon Taylor just refused to let Tyree get a clean look.
Back-to-back threes, block shot, and now another 3 for number 14 in white. Taylor missed the first 9 games of the season with an ankle injury, and boy, are they glad to have him, because LSU doesn't have a lot of depth. Schuler over the top, needs a bounce. Nice rebound in traffic, to your point, with 2 hands. Nice pass. Taylor gets his own rebound. Well, great effort. Great effort by Marlon Taylor.
The T on Will Wade.
Yeah.
Stepping out on the floor, pulling his shirt. Felt like there's a pull of the jersey that got ignored.
Well, a technical foul is going to be called on Will Wade, the 3rd-year head coach for LSU.
Well, watch Javonte Smart. The assist from the wrong team. Still counts.
Lead cut to 8, and Will Wade had a lot to argue about on this particular play.
Well, Blake Henson for Ole Miss, number 0 in blue, with a hold, and Will Wade was right in front of his bench, and he saw it, and he gets teed up because of it. Gets one last shot in, one last shot at the officials, and then goes back to his own bench and says, hey, that's on me, I'll take it. And now you've got 2 free throws and the ball in Ole Miss's favor. And Breon Tyree, who has not been much of a factor at all in this game, gets an opportunity to get the points without being guarded.
Makes the first, misses the second. 11:26 remaining in this one. Once again, Ole Miss looking for their second SEC conference win. Their only other victory was over Georgia. They are 1-6. LSU, the only undefeated team in the SEC at a perfect 7-0. Kentucky and Auburn coming up later tonight.
I think Kermit Davis felt like he should have gotten the ball in his front court after the technical foul shots. With LSU, you have to stay attached to number 4 in blue. I know he hasn't done much in this game, but he can go for 18 or 20 over the last 11 minutes. Talking about Breon Tyree.
Nice offensive rebound off the miss, put back in by Buffin, who has not done much because of early foul trouble.
What a response by Ole Miss in the second half. They've already scored more points in this half than they did the entire first half. And Kermit Davis is going to like that part of his guys' fight back today.
The score at the end of the first 20 minutes was 40-20. LSU in complete command, led at 28-11. Nice response by Javonte Smart once again.
Just a big, strong guard, man, that can, he and Skylar Mays can both make guarded shots around the rim at a high rate. They have a high release point. They're both 6'4". They play very well through any type of a bump on their pass. And now down the other end, you don't have that right now.
3 block shots now by Emmett Williams, and back to Javonte Smart, 15 points. And look at how efficient. Taking 7 official field goal attempts. Okay, some of those he's gotten to the line where he's 7 of 9 from the floor. Outstanding afternoon. Seven to shoot. Not a good possession here for LSU. Smart trying to find some distance. Separation, rhythm off the front of the iron. Good rebound. Look what offensive rebounding does. It takes a poor possession into a chance to get to the line.
And it gets LSU to the free throw line. And that, to me, that's how LSU gets so many free throw attempts in a ball game. It's on their offensive rebound and the fight and the toughness that they play with. And boy, time and time again, not only are they getting that offensive rebound, they're getting and ones and to the free throw stripe off of it. And that's, I can't say it enough. You get what you demand as a coach. You either allow it or you're teaching it. And Will Wade teaches and demands crashers to the offensive glass, and probably better than anyone else in this league. Mississippi State, at times, they can get there on the offensive glass about 38–40% of the time, but LSU is the gold standard in that area.
Schuler to the sideline along with Blake Henson, who just fouled out of this game with a lifetime left. Good block, Buffin, and then offensive rebound. Good work by Watford on the follow.
Yeah, they fight each other, LSU does, on the offensive glass. They have a 1 against the other 9 mentality when that shot's on the board.
The lead is back up to 16. Remember, coming right out of the locker room, Breon Tyree and Ole Miss cut the lead, which was 20, down to 8.
There's Breon Tyree working out of that left seam that he lives in for the most part.
Nice high screen and roll.
Results in a good ball screen by Hadim C to come out in that left seam area, and then he stays on that left side of the lane.
See now with half a dozen, give the assist, of course, to Breon Tyree. Smart on the step through, up and in. Javonte Smart now with 17 so far.
You know, and even on that last dive by Hadim C, I mean, a lot of clubs would have fouled that and made it an and one opportunity. LSU, they don't foul, man. They're so disciplined at playing tough around the rim, but not fouling around the rim.
Long rebound comes out to Marlon Taylor. He's mostly, when he's been on the floor, been assigned to bring in Tyree and doing a very good job with his length and quickness. Smart feeling it. Javonte Smart now with 19.
Yeah, you miscommunicate if you're Ole Miss off of an action, and you don't talk loud, you don't talk early, you don't talk with confidence, and give Javonte Smart a chance to get down the lane. That's a recipe for a problem. Javonte Smart can heat up. When Skylar Mays goes to the bench, you still have another big lead guard at #1 White.
Weekend here in Baton Rouge, over 70 distinguished basketball alumni from the university here in Baton Rouge, and the most distinguished, of course, and the most famous among them, Pistol Pete Maravich. His wife and son were on hand, along with some of Pistol's teammates. Good crowd here today at the building named after Pistol Pete, the Pete Maravich Assembly Center. 3,367 points 50 years ago yesterday, surpassed the great Oscar Robertson as the all-time leading scorer. And I think you rightly said that's a record that will never be broken.
It will not. A terrific story. John Brady, the former LSU head coach, is sitting to our left doing LSU radio right now, was actually at that game when Pistol Pete broke the record. It's back in the days when you had the camera with the flash on top, it would rotate. And John Brady said, I kept sitting in there waiting to take the shot of him making the basket that broke the record. And he missed 4 shots in a row. So my flash cube rotated 4 times. And I missed the actual shot that it went in. And man, what a beautiful story. But
yeah,
well, so many people just, they can say exactly where they were watching Pete Maravich play, or the drills that they did. And a game-changing talent was Pete Maravich. Remember those cameras?
I do.
You put the flash bulb on top and they would rotate.
I remember it.
Yeah.
I remember it vividly. Taylor taking it inside, up over Tyree. Offensive rebound inside by Hyatt. And that's going to be a traveling violation called on Darius Day. 7:28 remaining. 18-point lead for the Tigers. All the LSU players of today coming out to warm up wearing their Maravich jerseys. What an impact he had on the game of basketball. You're right. He changed the game.
Yeah, he did.
Wilt changed the game. Kareem changed the game. Michael, of course. Kobe. James Harden is still changing the game. And Pete was right there with him. Shot clock at 7. That ball is thrown out of bounds. So after a really good push by Ole Miss to get back in this game in the first 4 or 5 minutes of the second half.
Well, on February the 1st, these are the 5 guys that have my attention for the Player of the Year candidates. Luka Garza has just been tremendous. Obi Toppin, I've already talked about him. I still think Peyton Pritchard is the best overall player we have in the game. Miles Powell is starting to close the gap a little bit at Seton Hall. You can't ignore the numbers of Marcus Howard at Marquette. This is going to be such a crazy tight race for National Player of the Year this year. And Darius Days, he'll do that a couple of times a game. He'll knock one down for you as that big stretch 4. But this would be a year to me that if you're going to vote in the National Player of the Year race, we should wait all the way till the weekend of the Final Four and see which of those guys has the biggest impact for a couple of weekends in March, because the regular season, there's just no separation between 5 or 6 guys. I could throw Cassius Winston into that group as well.
Good offensive rebound taken by C off the miss. Emmett Williams, who almost got a piece of that, should point out he's got a career-high 4 blocked shots, does number 5 in white for LSU. Yeah, it's been such an interesting year of college basketball. Each season has its story. Last year it was Duke and Zion. This year, very, very different. There have been 7 number 1s, 23 unranked teams have beaten ranked teams, and just a fascinating season. And I agree with you, that'll play out with respect to the Player of the Year.
Yeah, and it sets up for what could be a magical, memorable March Madness. And you know, I look at the seed lines right now that Joe Lenardi is so good and so accurate, by the way, at putting out every day for us. The number 1 seeds he has as of today: Baylor, Kansas, San Diego State, and Gonzaga. I don't have any problem with those 4. But think about this: the 2 seeds, Seton Hall, Louisville, Duke, and Dayton. The 2 seeds are every bit as good as the 1 seeds. I drop down to the 4 seeds right now. Villanova, Oregon, Kentucky, Butler. So the separation between Joe Lunardi's 1 seeds and all the way down to the 4 seeds, about as small of a gap that I can remember in college basketball in a long, long time in terms of how good those teams are and how much power there is in the difference. There's the seeds I'm talking about as of today, and that's going to change over the next 5 or 6 weeks. But you could easily flip-flop. I've watched all those teams play multiple times. You could easily put the 4 number 2 seeds at number 1 and the number 1s at number 2 and say there's really no difference. That's how tight and wild that NCAA tournament will be this year.
As far as the SEC is concerned, in our bracketology by Joe Lunardi, 5 teams in. Arkansas is currently an 8, LSU a 5, Auburn also a 5, Kentucky a 4. That could flip-flop later today. And Florida currently is a 10 seed.
Now Arkansas with a big road test today at Alabama. If you're Alabama, like I said, it's February 1. There's nowhere to hide. And you're supposed to win games on your home floor. And we'll see if Alabama, who came in here on Wednesday night and did not show up in the first half, if they will answer the bell and ring the bell against Arkansas later on today.
LSU was able to take care of Alabama right here at the Pete Maravich Center. 90-76. LSU had 14 offensive rebounds, 20 second chance points, did Darius Days, and the LSU Tigers, all 5 starters were in double figures. Very convincing performance for LSU over Alabama. And again this afternoon, LSU's won 9 in a row. They're currently ranked number 22, 16-4 overall under second-year head coach, or make it third-year head coach Will Wade.
Here's how Pistol Pete still resonates with folks. And we've been talking about Pete, I don't know, the last 4 or 5 minutes. I look down, I have 9 text messages on my phone, different people saying I used to do those drills all the time. I went to Pistol Pete's summer basketball camp back in the 70s from guys that I know love the game and know the game, and I respect their thoughts on basketball as much as anybody. And so it's just, he's one of those guys that years from now, like I don't think I've ever told our daughter Kennedy about Pistol Pete. I'll go home tonight and tell her about Pistol Pete and the impact that he had and how different he was and the work ethic and the love for the sport that he had, all those lessons that we can all learn. Just special, unique, rare, just keep on going. Bringing Tyree, finally doing what I drew up in the first half. He's done all season long on my chart.
Mays back on the floor now for LSU, 5:20 remaining. It's been all Devontae Shuler on the afternoon with very, very little help. And at the other end, Javonte Smart having a smart game along with Watford got LSU off to a really, really good start as they lead by 18. 3 top 20 teams highlight our full day of Saturday college hoops on ESPN and the ESPN app. John Calipari and number 13 Kentucky take on Bruce Pearl and number 17 Auburn at 6 p.m. Eastern in a sonic blockbuster. Then at 8 p.m. number 9 Duke squares off against Syracuse at the Carrier Dome. Back with Jimmy Dykes, I'm Paul Sunderland. Speaking of a full day of college basketball in the SEC. Texas A&M is at Georgia, Tennessee, Mississippi State. Mississippi State started 0-3. They've won 4 in a row. Missouri at South Carolina. South Carolina, the only team with a conference win so far over Kentucky. Marlon Taylor has been very impressive so far on the afternoon. He's scored, he's made a couple of threes, but what a job defensively on Tyree.
There's a ton of pressure and expectations on Javon McCormick, the point guard for Auburn later on in the Plains. The jungle will be hot and alive. College game day was absolutely off the charts today. But he's up against a defensive point guard in Ashton Hagans that can really change the game. You look at LSU right now. They did not lose last year on the road. They haven't lost this year so far either, home or away. And Kentucky and Auburn, you look at Auburn, they lose that game today. They fall 3 games back from LSU at the midway point. And this is the real team now. These are dudes that know who they are every day when they wake up. The work ethic of Skylar Mays and Darius Days, these guys, they don't go away. There's a toughness and a belief and a DNA in this system that is there every single day. And I go back to what that is. They pound the ball to the paint. They pound you on the offensive glass. They hold each other accountable. I think they do a tremendous job of self-coaching each other. I've been in their practice gym with them. And it's a group that is really unified and solidified going all the way back to last year.
Speaking of Mays in the SEC, let's take a look at some of the headlines. 3 ranked teams. We just mentioned a couple of them as far as bracketology was concerned. Number 13, Kentucky, 17, Auburn, 22, LSU. Vanderbilt, however, lost 25 in a row. New head coach Jerry Stackhouse. They played pretty well at Rupp the other night. They will put an end to that. And Nick Richards averaging 14 points, 8 rebounds so far on the year. And as we talked about, since they are going, they being Kentucky are going to Auburn, has been much better so far on the road, significantly.
Yeah, he was popping his jersey last Saturday in a building that was ferocious, talking about Texas Tech. They free beer for the students, and that place was rocking, man, from the time they got in at 2 o'clock till the game ended at 7:30. And Nick Richards had no back down at all in his body in that game. He will not back down tonight. That's going to be a hard game for Kentucky to win because of the home court dominance that Bruce Pearl has put together. And not sure what's going on in the huddle between Mays and Williams and Javonte Smart. What in the world, man? But you know what? I'm okay with that. I mean, great teams, it's not always unicorns and birthday candles. And it's okay to get on one another and have strong, truth-telling conversations. And I'm not sure what transpired right there, but that goes back to my point about LSU. They are hardwired now. They are competitive dudes. And I love teams that, well, let me put it like this, Paul. If you don't have a player that will go to a coach and say, hey, get him out of the game, he's killing us, you're not going to win a championship. Right. And I think LSU has some guys like that. If they get scored on 2 or 3 times in a row or they miss an assignment, I think Skylar Mays and Darius Days, I think they'll go to Will Wade and say, get him out, coach. Get him out for a while. He's killing us. If you don't have that, man, it's an uphill climb.
This team plays with a style, plays with a chip on their shoulder. And to your point, I think it's so aptly made. They know exactly who they are and how they want to play each and every time out. That ball deflected out of bounds. The officials talk about it. The Ole Miss basketball. 4:42 left and a very comfortable lead once again at 18 after it was cut to 8 the first couple of minutes into the second half.
And the other thing I'm looking forward to watching, hopefully tonight, Cole Anthony could possibly be returning to North Carolina. And that's a North Carolina team. They might be 500, 1 game below, but they played better the last couple of ball games. But Cole Anthony coming back is a great story to me because he could sit out and take the same path of James Wiseman, different guys that have done over the years, and say, I've proven my worth. I'm just going to sit here and stay healthy. Cole Anthony is a competitive kid. And you think about it right now. You look at that potential #1 pick between Anthony Edwards at Georgia, LaMelo Ball, James Wiseman, Obi Toppin. To me, it's not clear cut. And Cole Anthony is in that conversation for top 4 or 5. If Cole Anthony were to not come back, he's probably going to be the 4th or 5th pick. You know the difference in the #1 pick this year in the draft and the #4?
I know it's a lot.
About $20 million. So Cole Anthony, by coming back, says, hey, I'm a competitive guy, and I'm going to come back and try to do something special. He could improve where he's taken in the draft remarkably over the next 5 or 6 weeks. It is wide open.
Javonte Smart, one of the few mistakes he's made all afternoon. Turnover there, but it's all LSU still leading by 17.
Well, it always delivers, as does March Madness, especially this year. We talked about it. And LSU in 1-possession games, not going to happen tonight. They've had a history of them. #3 is my favorite. Girl Scout cookies always deliver. We talked about it Wednesday night.
Absolutely.
Thursday morning, I'm at the airport, and a guy walks by me and says, Lemon Ups, Girl Scout cookies. Okay, we'll put Lemon Ups on the list as well. So people are listening. Lemon Ups, the lemonade cookies, the Thin Mint, Samoas are my favorite. They always deliver. The peanut butter patties.
Love those.
Yeah,
love those.
The trefoils got left off the list last Wednesday as well. We got to get that on there. The shortbread trefoil cookies. And just the toffee tastics, caramel chocolate chip. Which one of those cookies? They always deliver. Always deliver. Consistency in life, Paul. If you're around, our first game together, we ever work together again, I'm big on consistency. Things that I can count on in my life.
Can you count on me going forward?
Yeah. Well, you got 3 minutes left to finish off the.
We'll see.
If
I finish strong, I might be okay.
Yeah.
Right, fair enough.
You're from California.
I am.
Do you drink kombucha?
Yes.
Okay, well, my main partner, Carl Ravitch, still refuses to drink kombucha with me on the road.
Do I need to meet you at the airport and bring him a case like the Girl Scout cookies? It's all good. Kombucha's good. Got a case of it in my garage.
Yeah.
240 remaining.
Keeps you healthy, man.
Yeah, LSU has got this one in the proverbial garage, if you will.
Yeah, they do.
Ole Miss made it very interesting at the start of the second half. Devontae Shuler has had a really, really nice basketball game now with 23. The lead was 40-20 at the half. LSU shot 60%. They came out, missed their first 6 field goals to start the second half. Ole Miss got within 8, but then after that, 7-0 run, and this game was put aside once again for LSU. They're about to improve to 8-0 in conference, and they have Auburn and Kentucky coming up. Well, we've got a moment. Let's go to the studio and Kevin Connors.
Hey there, Paul. Actually, Allison Williams here with you in studio. Want to remind fans, coming up next, we have Kansas State at number 12, West Virginia. West Virginia led by Miles McBride. That is coming up next after the conclusion of your guys' game there in Baton Rouge. And I'm glad to know we are all kombucha fans. But I can never say it right. Am I saying it right?
Thank you, Allison. Thank you. She does know Kevin Connors, by the way, so there's a little bit of tie in there. Allison's always in our ear on Saturday. Does a terrific job of keeping us organized. And what a huge day across the country for college basketball.
Yeah.
So many games. I talked about it earlier. Like, you got to start showing up. Memphis, their guard play is just crazy. They invent ways to turn the ball over. Memphis does right now. I think Ohio State's going to get a win today. They need one. NC State has a big opportunity at home against Louisville. Mississippi State trying to make a change, a move in the SEC. Alabama, Arkansas is a big game. Florida's got to start winning. North Carolina's trying to make some noise. Michigan, Syracuse with a huge opportunity. Man, it's February. It's go time now.
Texas Tech, Baylor. I got that right? Do they play today?
Texas Tech's at Kansas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Big. That's a very, very big game.
Yes.
LSU has had a very nice run against Ole Miss of late. It's a series that goes back to 1909. And for LSU, this will be their 7th win in the last 8 meetings. Sports Center tonight after Duke Syracuse with Bucci and Anderson. They'll break down 76ers Celtics. Plus our crew in Miami has the very latest news on the eve of Super Bowl 54. And inside this year's Pro Football Hall of Fame class, Sports Center after college hoops on ESPN and the ESPN app. Your thoughts on the Super Bowl?
I'm all in on Patrick Mahomes.
Absolutely.
I was in Lubbock last Saturday, and that just pushed me over the top. I heard stories about him, and the guy can make something out of nothing, which at some point in any high-level game, you need a player making a play. It's not about plays at some point. It's about a guy making a play, and that's the best we have in the game right now. The good news for Ole Miss in this game is another terrific game by Devontae Shuler. And if you can get Shuler staying where he's at right now and get Brian Tyree to wake up and get going again, Ole Miss can win some games in the SEC. The second half, body language, energy, togetherness, connectedness, purpose, so much better than the first half of Ole Miss in this ball game.
Devontae Shuler with 26 back-to-back games, tying his career high once again. And for Brian Tyree, that's 2 games in a row where he scored in single digits. The last game, double overtime loss to Auburn, was mostly because of foul trouble. Today was not. He struggled, and the defense for LSU was fantastic. Inside of a minute, LSU is going to improve to 17-4 and 8-0 in conference. Who's playing the best basketball in the SEC right now?
These guys right here in white. Yeah, their record backs it up. Now their schedule is getting ready to find out just how good they really are. I think I know how good they are because they're very similar to what they did last year. Paul, they are outstanding. They are outstanding, LSU, and Marlon Taylor's one of them at taking the ball to the basket, man. They're only going to throw in 6 or 7 3-point shots a game, but they are going to smoke you around the rim and on the offensive glass and getting to the free throw line. And that's, to me, that's why I believe in Will Wade's team. They're going to hold up in road games. They're going to hold up in Nashville and in the SEC tournament. They're going to hold up in the NCAA tournament because of the style of play that they have. The two big guards are physical. They don't turn it over at a high rate. They defend without fouling. And they're starting to understand Ole Miss closed the gap on them today, but they pushed him back out. And they're the real deal. But now after you get past Vanderbilt, you're looking at going at Auburn. Missouri should be a win. At Alabama and Kentucky. Those 3 games right there may very well decide the SEC regular season. I think 14-4 will win it this year. 15-3 by LSU is not out of the possibility.
LSU has been so efficient. They're going to shoot 48% from the floor. They've made 4 of 10 threes. They've gotten to the line. Maybe there's going to be more coming here. This will be free throws number 33 and 34, and they've out-rebounded Ole Miss 41-29 and doing so much damage once again on the offensive glass. Trendon Watford been shooting free throws at 83% during conference play, as you pointed out early. Gets with his head coach. He did it yesterday. Head coach Will Wade, and they have developed a pre-shot routine. And now, as opposed to early in the year, Trendon Watford doing exactly the same thing before every free throw, and his time with his head coach has proven to be very, very fruitful. Where does Ole Miss go from here? We talked to their head coach, Kermit Davis. Again, NCAA tournament last year. He said when we were talking to the fans back in Oxford, yes, be disappointed, but don't be disheartened. They came out and played very well for about the first 6 minutes of the second half, but then the better team took over.
I like how Kermit Davis put it. I mean, it's one thing to be disappointed in the record right now, but don't be discouraged. Everybody in the SEC coaching-wise understands how good Kermit Davis is. That dude's the real deal. And he's having to build this thing right now in year 2. In year 1, everything kind of went their way, and now the work begins. But a good fight back by Ole Miss in the second half. Did not show up in the first half. And LSU's a real team. I'm telling you, this is a team that could very well win the SEC again back-to-back years. We shall see.
13 straight conference wins in any Power 5 conference. That is very impressive. LSU wins at 73-63. For Jimmy Dykes, I'm Paul Sunderland saying so long from Baton Rouge. Now let's send you